I see no greater source of misinformation online than the two political parties. You having access to information the same way they have access to information is a problem. When I said this last year, I honestly did not expect that the series of events would unfold so rapidly.
If you notice what's happening is that laws that granted certain rights and freedoms are being clawed back, right? At the same time, simultaneously, they're weaponizing the state, they're equipping the state, militarizing their security forces, but not for the protection of the people, militarizing the security forces to use against the people. And so I think a lot of this is in preparation for the time when they don't have to listen to us. The next step, I think, is to fix the systems in such a way where it doesn't matter whether we vote for them or not, right? People now are surprised that they don't have freedom of speech. See, that was a part of the farce, because a lot of the freedoms that we thought we had, we really didn't, right? You can speak freely as long as you say what we want you to say.
I'm just a little surprised that it happened as quickly as it did, wherein governments are moving to suppress the avenues with which people access information. History has shown us that this is how even those governments that claim to be democratic react when they are not able to control the messages that people receive. And propaganda is a time-tested method used by governments all over the world, including the Jamaican government, to manufacture the public's consent to programs and plans that they have in place. For example, they have done surveys in Jamaica that show that most Jamaicans are willing to give up some of their rights if they believe that it would curb crime, when in fact the reality is that when police crack down on crime, a lot more innocent people are caught up in their activities than it is that they solve crime. Meaning that it is more likely that a person who is just on their way to work is going to get caught up in a police dragnet, taken to the station and detained for hours, days, even months, probably without charge, and then released. And the police say, oh, well, such is that. But people don't think about this when they agree to have their rights taken away. All they know is that there's a problem that they want solved, and they think that by making a little sacrifice, the sacrifice being their rights, that they are contributing to the solution to the problem. And this is why statements by Prime Minister Andrew Holness and members of his government that misinformation is so-called one of the biggest threats to our democracy is something that we really should be concerned about. Because we know that whatever the United States does, Jamaica tends to follow. And the United States has been moving to quote-unquote ban TikTok because it supposedly poses a threat to national security, when in reality, they are concerned that they are not in control of the narrative on that platform. Both the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party have their social media operatives. We encounter them, those of us with a big mouth like me, encounter them on a daily basis on every platform. Whenever you say anything that they don't like about their party or about their party leaders, they're the first ones to jump in and defend them. They're the first one to even issue threats. They're the first one to call you all kind of demeaning names, because that is their role, to spread misinformation, not just about the other people from the other party, but also to try to discredit anyone who opposes or who they think is an opposing voice to whatever message that they want to put out there. I see no greater source of misinformation online than the two political parties. They consistently have their trolls pushing information, a lot of times which does not gel with reality. The problem that they're having now is that unlike the old days where they were able to do all this, put all this information out there, and we did not have alternate sources of information to challenge them, So they were able to get away with it and they were able to convince more people. No, it is not so easy. And so you having access to information the same way they have access to information is a problem. It's a problem because they're not able to just take away your rights without being challenged. It's a problem because they're not able to enact policies without being challenged. It's a problem because they're not able to get away with whatever corruption they want to get away with because they're being challenged. But I say all that to say that they're going to come up with a reasoning to sell to the public as to why we, the public, needs to be protected from so-called misinformation, which they are the main perpetrators of. They're going to come up with reasons to try to convince us that we should not be so free on social media to say what we want to say, to criticize them, to able to give opposing voices to the messages they want to put out there. They're going to come up with reasons why you need to give access to encrypted apps like WhatsApp, why you need to have less access to certain social media because of security threat. They're going to come up with reasons, again, why it is imperative for you to give consent to a national identification system, NIDS, so that they may be able to keep you safe when in reality it will allow them to track you and track everything that you do under the guise of national security. Don't think that the government of a small country like Jamaica would not do what the United States is doing. It is not beyond the United States and it is not beyond Jamaica to manufacture consent to run an authoritarian government while at the same time calling themselves a democracy because they packaged it and put it to you so nicely that you agreed with it, and so then they can say it was a democratic decision.